The first time someone suggested to me we use synthetic data to train an AI model, I thought it was absolutely nuts. And now, a few years later, I'm doing a PhD on the topic of safe use of synthetic data in AI development. And this is important because our society is getting increasingly data-driven, and we really need to understand how this can impact us. And there really are some amazing things you can do now with generative AI. So the concept of synthetic data is not really new. For many years, we've been able to create artificial data that looks real using our human experiences or our knowledge, or we can use directly derived methods based on real data, where we apply rule-based methods, for instance, to create new data that looks real but is artificial. So for one, when you generate synthetic data using these deep neural networks, you do not get a one-to-one relationship with the original data points. And this means it's more robust against reverse engineering, and that gives a better or lower identification risk, a better privacy risk. Also, you can get exceptionally realistic results, which is a good thing in many cases. It also gives the opportunity to create deepfakes. And then once you have trained a generator, you can quite easily generate lots and lots of new data at a lower cost. And that is brilliant, particularly in the areas where you need a lot of data for development, as in research, as in AI development, for instance. And in healthcare, it's so difficult to access data that a lot of people are reporting that this is actually influencing the development of AI in healthcare and that it's lagging behind other sectors. So you can quite easily download an app on your phone that does automatic photoshopping of your selfies, but our patients may be missing out. So what is really interesting when using deep generative methods is you do not just get copies or very similar samples to the original data set. You also get completely new types of samples and new combinations that have not been observed yet. So if you have a very small data set of, say, rare disease patients, you can create new combinations and new cases that can help you test your tool to see whether it's robust or not for a possible future situation. And that's great, right? What is not so great is when you create samples that are not realistic. And we call these hallucinations. You've probably all seen these images where you generate and you get lots of extra fingers and so on. And the more times you keep training your generator on synthetic data, you may create more and more of these strange artifacts. So, with all things that seem too good to be true, this is also the case. There are lots of issues that need to be managed. And it's important to make sure that your data is fit for purpose. So we like to talk about 4 different dimensions of quality. The first is representativeness. So your data needs to represent the population that it is going to be used for, right? And you can measure this looking at statistical similarity and also the utility the data has when you use it in an AI model downstream. Then there's privacy, and looking at inference risk and identification risk. And then it's bias and fairness. And the fourth is carbon footprint. Because computational complexity and also the manual labor that goes into developing these are really important. And some of these generators have a quite high carbon footprint. So it's important to be aware of. All of these parameters can be managed and can be measured in the generation phase, in the actual data set, and downstream in its application. So done properly, you can balance out biases in original data sets, you can augment small data sets, you can fill in the missing gaps, and you can really reduce the costs and then also facilitate the access to data for development of AI. Maybe even synthetic data could have a place in the regulatory decision process to speed that up as well. There are plenty of opportunities for using synthetic data. Let's just make sure we do it right and balance all these factors and make sure we have data that is safe and fit for purpose.